the junior.
Okay, gotcha.
That is not the junior program, and that is not the advanced either golf pro or college collegiate program. But the most typical client that I have is an average, middle-aged man or female golfer.
Okay.
That is the largest number of people I train right now, with obviously the outliers being the fun kids and the serious golfers.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. And we can kind of get that into that more. So during the interview, you can touch on kind of what the differences you use and different philosophies you may use for different types of players and different exercises and so on and so forth. So we can kind of do that during the interview. But yeah, if we want to start off with that survey, if you have that pulled up there.
Yeah, I do have it pulled up.
Walk through each question and just tell me which answer kind of best suits you or you believe in most. So
okay, all right. So are you gonna read it and I'm just gonna answer,
or? Sure. Yeah. So for the first one, yeah, golf specific exercises should be incorporated in a golf training program, and then please circle one answer there.
Golf specific exercises, and I assume you do not want me to answer everything with "it depends," correct?
So I mean that definitely is noted. But yeah, kind of whatever, best suits your practices.
Okay. Golf specific exercises should be incorporated in golf training programs. Neutral.
Okay.
I would say I would love to. Am I expanding on these or no?
That's something that we can maybe do during the interview.
Okay.
You can kind of
fitness coaches shouldn't tell you how to hit a golf ball.
Yeah, gotcha.
Okay, I'll leave it at that.
Number 2 there, golf specific exercises are important in a golf training program. Please circle one answer there.
Disagree.
Okay. And number 3, this will be kind of a little bit more opportunity to get a little context, but how would you define a golf specific, how do you define a golf specific exercise?
So the way I would define a golf specific exercise is something that will help the patterns of the golf swing. How the public defines the golf specific exercises is something that looks like the golf swing. So that's where I draw my line, mostly because I do not want you to train a pattern that's supposed to be fast with a loaded implement. So a weighted golf swing with something that is over a small percentage of your golf club is not necessarily going to improve your golf game. And it's more likely if you are not strong enough to injure your game or hurt your athletic potential. For example, a vertical jump might not be considered a golf specific exercise. However, I would consider it the pinnacle for creating club head speed.
So I guess with that first comment with helping the patterns of a golf swing, what would some of those patterns look like, or what would you define as those?
Yeah, so patterns of a golf swing is the ability to transfer load from one side of your body to the other. Right-handed golfers being in forward finishing on their left foot, and left-handed golfers being forward finishing on their right foot. The ability to create turn from the top of your backswing down. That is similar to some disassociation drills that can be done with balance, and usually not on a med ball. The ability to create turn is directly correlated to your ability to be stable. So one of the things I tell all my golfers is that the king of the swing is the deadlift. The ability to hold posture and be strong over the ball is what's going to help you set up for everything else. I can keep going, but I assume we're probably going to get there.
Yeah, we'll dive into a little bit more in the interview. So yeah, if we want to go on to number 4. So these are just several different exercises that you would classify as agreeing that it's golf specific or disagreeing that it's golf specific. So if you just kind of want to go through one by one there and just say whether you agree or disagree.
Okay, good. Very strong start. Deadlift, agree.
Okay.
Overhead med ball throw. Are you talking vertical? Or are you talking?
Oh, yeah. So kind of overhead if you're like sitting down and then you kind of do a sit up doing an overhead. Okay.
I would disagree. Vertical jump, I would agree. Olympic lifts, depending on the golfer. I don't personally prescribe a lot of them due to the chance of injury, specifically in the wrists area for especially my people who make money playing golf. I tend to stay away from them, but I'm going to have to agree as they can fall into the pattern or fall into very specific. Rotational med ball toss, yes. Bench press, absolutely not. Back squat, yes. Cable wood chop, yes. Med ball slam, yes. Seated med ball throw, no.
Awesome.
Let's go with no.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, it's hard to, being able to, for research purposes, just kind of classify a thing as one or the other. So
the Tpa Power Test has a kneeling med ball toss that has you extend and finish in like a push-up position. I would say yes, very much so for that. It's a very good way to test upper body plyometrics. Seated, sure, it'll have a point, especially if like somebody's got some really bad upper body power leaks. That might be useful, but it can defer to, it depends on a lot of these questions.
For sure. Awesome. All right. So kind of going on to the next question, this kind of builds off of that last question. So being able to classify it on a continuum as 1 being extremely non-golf specific and 10 being extremely golf specific, how do you kind of rate those exercises all the way through? So feel free to kind of go one by one again and give me a number there. Just kind of
is each 1 through 10, or do I have to go 1 all the way to 10?
Gotcha. Kind of order it. No. So yeah, 1 through 10 being just on a continuum. It's not like you have to rank them. Oh, this is more specific than this exercise. It's on that continuum.
So deadlift 10. Let's start with the 10s.
Okay.
Deadlift 10, vertical jump 10. Okay. Overhead med ball throw, the soccer specific one.
Yep.
2. Olympic lifts, I'll give it if I could give it a 5.5, I would, but I'll go 6.
Okay.
Rotational med ball toss, 7. Bench press, can I give zeros? 1.
1. Okay. Perfect.
Additional bar bench press would be a 1. Back squat, it depends. 5. Cable wood chop, 6. Med ball slam, 8. Seated med ball throw, 2.
Okay, perfect. All right, yeah, so going on to the next question here, circle the percentage that best reflects the proportion of golf-specific exercises used in your training programs. And obviously, yeah, it might depend, but do your best there.
Golf-specific exercising meaning patterns? Or
just
looks like the golf swing.
So based on your definition, I would say kind of to you, what would be a golf specific exercise?
It's very tough though. My definition of golf specific exercises, which is what aligns with the public, I would say is probably quite low. So I'd say 25% for me. And that's me kind of being generous.
Perfect. All right, on to the next question here. Circle the number of months that best represents how long golf-specific exercises are the primary means of your training programs.
Oh, that's better. Yeah, because my speed protocols are what I lead into. That speed sticks and those type of exercises. I would probably say C1-3. I would say it's 2 months, but I'm going to go with this on the side of 1, just because there's not 2 there. I would say it's very close to 2 months. Like those, as things are starting to thaw out and the springs are coming in Massachusetts, like speed sticks are moving. You will constantly be hearing that sound in my gym.
Awesome. Perfect. And number 8 there, moving on there. What data do you collect to evaluate the progress of your golfers? And please be thorough and specific. Those are just a couple examples there if you use those or any others that you use to assess.
I use a rotational broad jump. I would use a vertical test if I had a vert mat. I do not.
Okay.
Driving distance and 7-iron. 7-iron, driving distance average and 7-iron average are my two golf numbers that I grab every time.
Okay.
I do not do a 1 rep max on any exercises for my golfers. Exception being if they had one coming up at school, but they don't, because luckily I have smart coaches that I work with over at Rutgers, or my athletes go to Rutgers. Balance test, yes. That'd be the only hard tests I give them in the weight room.
Sounds good. I guess for the driving distance and 7-iron distance, do you personally do that like on a TrackMan or on a Foresight at all? Or is that kind of from Rutgers, you said kind of your partnership with them, or?
No, so my athletes, so I'm not partnered with Rutgers. I just train
Okay.
two of their athletes.
Gotcha.
It'd be a cool partnership to have, but
Yeah.
their coach does a really good job. I'm very happy with what they do. But no, I have 2 athletes over there. But no, I have access to TrackMan at my facility, as well as most clients are able to give me an answer. And what we're looking for is before they started training with me, what was your number? And after, a 6-month check-in is what I go for. I'm never a quick fix. If you're coming to me for a month, I generally will not be working with a client like that, unless it's like traveling purposes or something like that. But usually do about another 3-month eval, same questions, and 6-month eval, and then definitely we're doing a 1 year.
Gotcha. Perfect. All right. So moving on to the next question here. Which of the following training goals do you prioritize throughout a golf training program? So if you want to rank them on kind of the priority level using low, medium, high, or NA if not applicable. So there's a couple different options here. So kind of go through each one and then kind of select what priority level best suits each one.
And max, you don't mean like a 1 rep max test, do you?
Yeah. So kind of, yep. 1 rep max.
Okay. I don't 1 rep max anybody. So it'll be not applicable for the first 2.
Okay.
Max power, meaning like test a power clean.
Yeah. Power clean or any assessment that you would use to determine how powerful an athlete is.
Do the power I would test because that I have a 90-degree broad jump that I test. So high.
Okay.
Speed, high. Hypertrophy, low. Aerobic conditioning, medium. Glycotic conditioning, medium. Not truly applicable, but let's go with medium. Repeated sprintability. High. Rotational strength. High. Rotational power, high. Core stability, super high. Balance, high.
Okay. And then there's three more there: ankle mobility, hip mobility, and torso mobility.
Torso mobility high, hip mobility high, and ankle moderate. I should probably do a better job on the ankle.
Okay.
It's just usually really obvious or it's really not.
Yep, gotcha. All right, and then final question here for the survey. Are there any physical limitations that you focus on that seem to be specific to golfers? And then, for instance, ankle dorsiflexion, thoracic mobility, anything specific like that?
The most obvious is lower back compensation, lower back pain. The number one thing all golf strength and conditioning coaches need to focus on, and this is a subject I would easily debate anybody on, is they need to take their golfers out of pain before they are focused on their golf performance. And that it might be a hard sell to somebody who is in pain, but if you increase their quality of life, and you increase their ability to play the game long term, you'll have not only a lifelong client, but you will have a very happy client. So it's a fight worth having. So pain needs to be the number one addressed. Physical limitations, lower back. Most golfers have a day job, so curvature of the spine, that's large. And then the inability for your body to either hip hinge, so pelvic limitations, and disassociation. So it's a lack of either upper or lower body stability, which can cause a lot of host of injuries. So you're looking for most injury answers, right?
Yeah, kind of the general ideas that you see, or general injuries that you see.
So shoulder limited range of motion causing impingement and forward pressing, curvature in the spine. So curvature in the spine causing either lower back pain or neck pain. And then the most common injury I have is obviously the low back and the lead knee. The lead knee either having arthritis or swelling or a history of meniscus tears. I've had a few. I've seen a few clients with that. Those are my most common. Your swing side will take a beating if you do not break the pattern and build up the system to take it.
Gotcha. Perfect. Okay, so that kind of concludes the survey portion there. So that kind of gives a little bit more quantitative data and kind of concrete answers. And now the interview, that'll be able to you'll be able to kind of provide a little bit more context on a lot of those answers. So
okay, good. There's a lot of it depends that I wanted to say.
Absolutely. Right. I feel like almost every question it could be like, oh, it depends on it. Yeah. So
just like the CSCS exam.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So if we want to start off, if you want to provide, what's your position currently where you're at for your job?
So I am the owner of Rotational Power Strength in Acton, Massachusetts. And that's where I work with PGA professionals, both in the area, as well as, people going for Q school and things of that nature, as well as the juniors is the large amount of my clientele. And I also have, your average age golfer, both men and female there as well. And then as my other job, I am the director of golf fitness at Nishotic Country Club here in Concord.
Okay. Sorry, what country club was that again?
Nishotic.
How do you spell that?
Nash. I thought you were going to ask. NASHAWTUC.
TUC. Perfect. Awesome. Perfect. All right. Well, kind of diving into the interview first, just to kind of go over what my research study and what my thesis is here is kind of my overarching goal is to document and analyze the content of training programs that professionals are utilizing out in the field, and kind of diving in more specifically, how are golf specific exercises and practices being utilized in the field, and are they being utilized? And then hopefully that this data will kind of be gathered to allow further information on training practices that are being used, but then also kind of what's the efficacy of those training interventions that are going on out in the field. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of the goal of the study and kind of the background information on that. So kind of diving first into the interview, first question here is if you want to provide any background information kind of on your journey to kind of where you've gotten in your career, and anything that you want to kind of document for background information on your career.
Yeah, so I started after college. I started training at Exos Performance, which is in it's all over the U.S. I think it's worldwide now too. But I was in Gulf Breeze, Florida. I worked with primarily an injured military population, as well as some NFL Combine preparation. From there, I went on to work at Northeastern Hockey, and then I moved into working at WPI as on the college side, Becker University, and then I worked at as a director of performance at a couple of different facilities in the Sudbury and Worcester area. I settled into golf fitness over the last 6 years, and I've been specializing in golf for that time. During then, I got Titleist Performance Level 1, Level 2, would have gotten Level 3 if not for COVID, so I'll be going this year. I look forward to that. And then recently I got ranked in the Golf Digest Top 50 performance coaches. So that's been quite helpful for being able to work with high caliber players and being able to really see some results from my players buying into continuing on with their programs longer term. I do a lot of work with average golfers and I do a lot of work with, high level players, but my primary enjoyment comes from making sure that golfers are playing pain-free and playing more golf. So that's where I focus now. And it's been going well so far. So opened up my first facility this year, which is always brings its challenges during a pandemic, but so far so good. The golf industry is booming. So I'm pretty happy.
Yeah, absolutely. Perfect industry to kind of grow into. And I mean, it's been growing, exponentially the last 10 years or so. So only can get better from here. So
yeah, for sure.
So you kind of described some of your current position a little while ago, and then kind of some of the responsibilities. You also kind of described some of the skill levels. Do you want to go into that any further? Just kind of different responsibilities that you have with golfers, or I mean, you said you kind of work with a bunch of different skill levels too. So kind of what are differences you see with those two?
So let's go, top down. So the highest caliber player that I work with, most of the time, you will not see me on the range with them at all, unless for some reason they've got a physical limitation that their swing coach or them it wants me to take a look at. That is not fairly common. I've done it a few times just to kind of see that, hey man, you got a power leak here. Let's see if we can address some lower body stability. Was one of the factors, and it basically boiled down to we needed to get them more frequently in the weight room and a little bit less time on the driving range. But that's a unique problem to have. The most common thing I deal with is injury prevention from my junior golfers. Most of those kids can spin like a top and can never stop. So I think in my intake, when I sent you over my program, I put a symbol that just said brakes over gas, and I start that way in my programming. I prioritize making sure that you can handle rotation before I give you a new engine, is how I like to put it. But the most frequent thing that I do is I have, your average, let's say 27-year-old male or female to 65-year-old male or female who's playing golf, wants to get better, and is willing to take the steps to get there. Those are my most common clientele. And if they want the full tour approach, in which I'm on the range with them with their swing coach, because I'll never tell you how to swing a club. You should not take swing tips from your golf fitness coach. I'll make that stand as well. I will do that, but most frequently I am taking their TPI assessment or what they describe to me through their swing coach or themselves as their major issue, trying to address it and making sure that they are playing pain-free golf. So those are in a nutshell, my major priorities. And I've been pretty successful making sure people aren't playing golf with back pain. So that's one of the overwhelming themes.
Yep. No, absolutely. No, that's a great point, because I mean, there's so many athletes that are, just playing kind of in pain or different things like that. And so for majority of your population that you work with, I mean, they want to be able to play golf into their 60s and 70s and later in life. So being able to kind of prolong their career, so to speak, and doing playing golf, not from a super competitive standpoint, but just from a recreational standpoint. I mean, there's a lot of things from fitness side that we can do as professionals. So I think that's great. So diving into the next question here is, how do you analyze the efficacy of your training programs?
It's a couple different ways, depending on who comes to me and what their major goals are. Easiest one to point the finger to is your club head speed was this, it is now this.
Okay.
That's the number one. I'm sorry, let me backtrack. Painful golf, pain-free golf. Number two would be club head speed, previous club head speed, secondary. And then the third one is generally when people are able to easily report back that they are less fatigued at the end of their round. Those are probably the easiest ones to say, like, hey, my program has worked. Those are the top three easiest ones to point out. I'll tell you this much: my favorite text messages to receive are when people leave for the winter to go on their first golf trip, and they are sending me all messages. They are pissed because they're flying the green with what used to be their 155 club is now well over. So I love it. Bring on the angry text messages when you fly the green.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
those are my favorite. Coach, I'm pissed. I flew my 8-iron 170 and it's usually my 155 club. Good.
Awesome.
Down,
yeah, right. Adjust to it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
You're
depending on, yeah, right. Well, depending on, yeah, where they're playing too. I mean, it's, different adjustment, different environment. So, so kind of along with that, analyzing the efficacy, you said you use kind of club head speed, you use driving distance, different yardage markers. Do you use any other swing kinematic data to kind of create and adjust your training programs, on the initial side once you get a client, but then kind of continually throughout your time with that client?
No, I look forward to adding that to my repertoire. It's something I'm looking forward to learning more about. I'm trying to constantly adapt what I do with my clients. So when I'm able to poke my head up from all of the coaching I am currently doing, that is one of the things I really am looking forward to learning more about. What's the K-Vest technology? It's something I look forward to learning more about. And some of the things that are one of the next steps I'd like to take, other than saying, it's very easy for me to sit down with a swing coach and have them tell me, hey, this is what I'm seeing. This is the problem. What's the fix? And we go work on that. That's an easier way to do it. The next step, I believe, in my coaching is to be able to, have that data in front of me and be able to see the kinematic sequence in real time on a 3D model will be where I'd like to go. But right now it's, and it still works. The swing coach or video being able to diagnose, most commonly like where a power leak is. For example, we had one kid whose hips were so early and wasn't able to hold it through, and we've prioritized deadlifts and upper body holds and hinges, and that problem has been addressed. And we've gained a significant amount of yardage to the point where he has new shafts in all his clubs. So
wow,
that's good. I cost his dad a lot of money, but because he had to buy new shafts. But
yeah,
hopefully the younger brother will grow into the other set. So I'll be off the hook, but he still brings it up. So
yeah, right.
Sorry, Dad.
No, yeah, right. Kind of the one of the downsides of getting older as a kid, trying to grow into different things and use different things. And
yeah, well, this happened within a calendar year, and he didn't grow at all. So he just got stronger, and we had to change all his shafts. So
wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. So you kind of mentioned that's kind of your next step. Is that something that is your facility? I guess I should phrase this question this way: does your facility is just primarily fitness right now, and then is that something you want to kind of add on to your facility almost?
I could. We have the space to, for sure.
Okay.
There's 2 hitting bays equipped with TrackMan, and then there is a chipping and a putting area, and then like a large group lesson section as well, like kind of like let's call it like a 30-yard bay. So if I wanted to get that equipment in there or put a force plate in or something like that, it definitely can be done. So let's put it this way, to be determined.
Right.
I'd like to, but we'll see.
Gotcha.
I'd like to.
Awesome. So kind of piggybacking off of those other questions, looking at the efficacy of your training programs, what are some certain strategies that you have utilized to continually evolve your training programs?
Yeah, so I think by learning by doing is one of the most powerful things in my field that coaches sometimes don't take the time to acknowledge. Like, I used to think this way, now I think this way. I think that sometimes when you expose yourself to different problems and find different solutions, they may apply to your next client or down the line. So the things that I'm trying to add on are, obviously I'm learning more through the TPI network, but I'm learning more when I meet with other coaches who work with similar clientele. Oftentimes I bounce questions off of coaches who work with younger kids to see what's something that you're finding your kids are having successful with. And then the smartest move that I've done is I built a team around me with either chiropractors or physical therapists or, whatever may be needed to know when to refer out. If I have somebody who's not taking golf lessons, who's been training with me and they're just not seeing the results that I think they should be seeing this time, I have a network depending on either where they live or where they work out, or if they're coming to me, there's coaches right there to refer them to swing coaches. So being a two-part answer is knowing when to refer out on, if you have a team around you, and two, learn by doing, and then constantly being comfortable making adjustments rather than just being like, well, the sheet says today you have 3x12 deadlift. I don't care that it's not working. Like, that would be silly. So a lot of these questions that we were answering earlier, the it depends answer is very well fit. And I think it depends on what the needs are of the clientele more so than what the program may dictate. But a lot of that just comes with experience of knowing when to make the switch or when to change it up.
Perfect. Awesome. Yeah. And that really makes each program really individualized to that person, which is always good. So what are some general training philosophies that you use and kind of learned over time?
General training philosophies, like a broad in what sense?
Yeah, so just kind of in general, from if you're looking at strength conditioning concepts or even just getting into even like work to rest ratios, or just anything that specifically kind of falls within in golfers that you train.
Yeah, so I sent this in my email earlier. I said that kind of the 6 principles that I follow by in my programming. I think that those philosophies are probably going to be most applicable. So for me, I would say that the pillars are not really in a specific order. The ability to disassociate between upper and lower half and separate is very important for my golfers. The ability to create lag or whip can't happen if you can't keep your lower body stable and rotate your upper body. I increase the stability in the lower half of the body is a large priority of mine. Seems quite obvious, but you still have coaches trying to have, and there's a little bit of a shot, trying to swing a golf club on a Bosu ball. Don't do that. My anti-rotation work is more prominent than my rotation work, which, to the frustration of my client until they start to see some of the results. That goes back to my brakes before gas concept. Gotcha. I don't want to give you a brand new engine if I have not adjusted the brakes. That will crash. My single leg strength and balance. So I will be more likely to give somebody a single leg deadlift, a single leg either assisted or unassisted squat, rear foot elevated split squat. Those type of exercises are going to be more prominent than a back squat or traditionals. I give more lower body pull exercises. Then I give lower body push exercises, small differential, but it's still there. And then I program lower body probably close to 3-to-1. So 3-to-1 ratio for most of my athletes. You will not skip leg day in my gym. It's very prominent. And then my pull patterns versus push pattern versus for upper or lower body is closer to 2-to-1. 2-to-1 on the pull. Those are kind of my over guiding principles of how I run rotational power strength and how I work with my clients at Nishadi.
Gotcha. And is there, is there a reason for the push to pull ratio?
So the push is lower than the pull. For me, kind of twofold. One, I think that it is most important that when I am with the athlete, the pattern that they are getting exposed to, if, let's say best case scenario, I see them 3 times a week, that's 3 hours a day. The other hours of the day, they are either seated, playing video games, typing on a computer, or something forward. So I am trying to constantly pull my people back.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then in my rotational athletes, having back strength allows them to be have an anchor to pull off of on the way down to hit the ball or swing the bat or throw the lacrosse ball. So there's that. And also from, and this kind of goes back to my college coaching days, I don't generally have to tell most athletes to go hit a press or a push-up or a bicep curl. I do have to tell them to do a pull-up, do a banded pull down, or do some underhand rows. I don't generally have to go tell a, let's say, high school boy to get on a dumbbell press. That's already happening. So they're with me for 2 to 3 hours a week. So I'm trying to get in as much as I can rather than assume.
Yeah, no, completely understandable. Definitely. So, all right. So diving into the next question. So that training program that you provided, what's kind of your approach to designing, that example or any program that you kind of used, getting into, I think there was 2 different phases on that program that you sent me. Kind of what's your approach to designing that whole thing and putting it all together for each individual?
Yeah. So the first phase is so much different than the second phase. And I think it's very easy to notice that, especially if you're inside of the program, you'll notice, whoa, there's a huge change at the 4-week mark, something happened. And so during 4 weeks, it is almost like a continuous evaluation. I'm constantly judging on, okay, is this the right pattern for them? Do they need a regression? Are they ready for the progression? For the first 4 weeks, it's very much, I spend a lot of time building the foundation. I think that's the biggest differential between myself and other coaches. Some are different than others, but a lot of the times I spend a lot of time on the foundations. I spend a lot of time building the house and, laying down the foundation. So some of the cross crawl patterns that you see, I spend a lot more time on the ground with bare positions. I spend making sure that your push-up is perfect before we even think about a cable press or a dumbbell press or something of that nature. And I spend a lot of time laying down the groundwork. The biggest thing that comes forward in my first phase of my program is that I'm going to have you be strong and stable before you rotate. There is no throwing. There's no swinging. There's nothing that really is ballistic in the first phase whatsoever, unless somebody comes to me already trained and, we can cross that bridge if we need to. But if someone's coming fresh off of the golf course into my gym and haven't trained in some time, that first program will be based on laying the foundations of the house. The second program, I will start to incorporate a lot more disassociation. There will be a half kneeling med ball toss if I deem them ready to rotate. I will start to incorporate more of a loaded deadlift pattern as needed. A single deadlift pattern, if they are able to do it unassisted, will then be loaded. Their balance will be tested a little bit more with lateral jumps. rather than toe taps or jump rope. I spend a lot of time making sure that my athletes understand what midfoot contact feels like and how they should be comfortable with there. You don't have a choice with me. Everybody will jump rope. And then I try to make sure that the single leg strength is in place, specifically training their non-dominant side as well. Most of the time they will start with their non-dominant side when we are starting an exercise. For example, righty golfers get plenty of right-handed swings. They will start any rotational or anti-rotational exercise in a lefty setup, just from the standpoint of, I know you are less trained on this side of your body. Let's make sure that you are the most fresh when you get into that drill on that side, so that I'm eventually closing the gap between the two. So there's probably a longer winded answer there, but.
Gotcha. Perfect. Yeah. And you mentioned single leg strength. So what would you define as that, or what do you use to assess that?
TRX, the ability to do a TRX single leg squat, rear foot elevated split squats, and single leg deadlifts.
Okay. Is there, like, when you're looking at those specific movements or exercises, are you looking for something in particular, or is it just kind of how it looks kind of thing, or what using to assess, I guess?
Well, it depends, but I would say that the time under tension is going to be a first priority over load lifted.
Okay.
If they can control their body in space with ease, then I will shift more of a priority to strength, specifically in the off season. Most of my guys and girls are going to have sore hamstrings and sore bums from RFEs and single leg deadlifts. So the ability to control a hip and single pivot, if I can pivot this way, it's going to be much easier to hit the ball.
Gotcha. Perfect. So what are some of the training goals that are most focused on throughout your training programs?
I don't think I mentioned, and also lateral lunges. I think that was,
yep.
I breezed over that.
Nope, that's okay. Yep. Nope, that's definitely noted.
Sorry, what was the question again?
Yeah. So what are some of the main training goals that you focus on throughout training programs?
So the priority is going to make sure that nobody gets hurt, but the second priority is making sure they are moving towards a pain-free swing. The third priority is making sure that they are improving on why they came to see me. If it is more confident over the ball in bad positions, or if it's just, I don't want to lose, the top of my backswing, I really get away from myself because my trail leg is always moving. I want to make sure that their goals are being met. But I believe that the processes that'll take them out of pain and make them a stronger golfer and also increase their club head speed will happen. But always keeping in mind why you came to me. At the end of the day, you are in a people business. If someone came to me to increase their club head speed and they also happen to lose their back pain, that's a double win. But both things better happen in a safe timeline. If somebody comes to me, hasn't trained for multiple years, is 60 and wants to increase their club head speed, and I just decide to increase their club head speed without addressing the fact that they're going to get hurt from me doing that, that's negligent and I would lose my job. So priorities is safe and stronger and not hurt and playing pain-free golf. But then, close. Number 4 is make sure that they're coming to you for a reason and you're providing that goal is met.
Gotcha. Yeah. And from talking with a lot of other coaches, it seems like it's really, it's a hard thing to manage that relationship where it's like they have their own goals in mind. And then as the fitness professional, there's certain things that definitely we want to target with certain individuals. And so it's kind of weighing that balance of trying to figure out what's the best for that individual and kind of create that buy-in too for each individual.
Yeah. So. Buy-in's big because if you get buy-in from your clients, your results will skyrocket.
Yeah.
their results will skyrocket. They will be happy. They will send you more people. Your business will do well.
Yep, absolutely. So kind of next question here. You've mentioned a lot of different types of training that you use and some different movements. If there's any other types of training that you want to kind of include, or any other movements that you feel are important that you utilize that you haven't touched on yet.
Yeah. Your active rest days should be spent doing something that's going to help your game if you're serious about it. So your active rest days, whether it's yoga, whether it's Pilates, whether if you are a fat loss client and your goal is to make sure that you're losing weight during your training period, you are only with your coach for 1 to 2, maybe 3 hours a week. Make sure you're doing the right things to do that, whether it's running, biking, or making sure you're in a calorie deficit. Those are really important to make sure you hit your goals, because no matter how good your coach is, they can only take care of you for the hour that you were with them. So those are big. I think I spend a lot of time making sure that my youth golfers understand nutrition going into their workouts, going into their school day, going into their tournaments, as well as my adult clients, making sure they understand the positive and negative effects of both what they eat during the tournament and how much they drink during the tournament. Those are also addressed. But the access during the pandemic to home gym equipment has increased. So quite frequently, I'm sending my clients home with a program to do as homework.
Gotcha.
So that has made my job easier, because you're progressing quicker because you're actually doing the work at home rather than just seeing me. I mean, if you only exercise 1 time a week with one training goal, that timeline is stretched out. 8 training sessions in 8 weeks won't do squat. I mean, it could improve your squat, but it's going to be significantly harder for me to make a dent in that goal if you only train 1 time per week over 8 weeks. I can only provide so much insight.
Yep, gotcha.
I think that one of the good things that's come out of the pandemic is people have access to fitness equipment more frequently. So that's been helpful, that people are going home and doing the work.
Yeah, absolutely. So kind of diving into the last set of questions here, kind of getting into more of that golf specificity. So if you want to kind of reiterate what your definition of a golf specific exercise is, or what it looks like, or add anything on to your previous definition at the start.
All right, so I'll give my definition and I'll give the public's definition. How's that? Fair?
Yep, absolutely.
All right, so my definition of a golf specific exercise is any pattern that would be helpful towards your golf swing. So my opinion is that good posture is what's going to set you up for a good golf swing. Posture is built between a strong posterior chain in your upper middle thoracic spine, as well as your shoulder blades, strong posterior chain, butt, and hamstrings. And then on the front side, a very sturdy, strong single leg balance is premium. Where the public, in my opinion, starts to make the change is where you think I need to be strong with a golf club in my hand, whether it's a loaded movement, and I'm not talking about speed stick, I'm talking about chops and swings that might be loaded. You're more likely to slow down your swing, and you're more likely to create bad patterns and potential injury than you are to get stronger in your golf game. Another issue I have is that people who righty or lefty are only training one side of their body. I think that if you spent more time on, most people are righties, I happen to be a lefty. Most people who are right-handed, train right-handed, do everything right-handed. It's equivalent of walking into a weight room, only doing right side bicep curl and walking out. So golf specific training, my definition is what's going to help your golf swing, what exercise will be assistance towards your pattern. The public definition is training that looks like a golf swing, which me and many of my colleagues will agree is not beneficial.
Gotcha. Perfect.
Don't ever do a golf swing while standing on a Bosu ball, please.
Haven't done that yet. I don't plan to do that anytime soon.
If
So.
you do, though, take a video and tag me so I can laugh at you.
Sounds good. What are some perceptions that you have about golf specific exercises in a training program with golfers?
Other than not doing on a Bosu ball.
Correct. Yeah.
So what's my opinion on them, or I'm sorry, one more time?
Yeah. Kind of your perceptions or opinions on the utilization of golf specific exercises in a training program.
When you do them right, when you incorporate speed sticks, or there's a couple of different there's stacked, there's like a 3D swing, there's a couple of very helpful patterns out there when used at the tip of training routine, which can be super helpful. If you lay the correct blocks to get to increase your club head speed by swinging hard, you'll see fantastic results. When you only approach the top of the pyramid and you only train that little bit, you're going to only see so much. One of the things that the junior select program does here at the practice grounds and at Nishonik is we do have days in which kids are swinging very, very hard, and we will not prioritize where the ball is going, because this is a day in which we are training the system to be ready and to be used to new golf swings. But we are comfortable doing that because I've taken the time to lay the foundation so that they are able to handle the new engine that we gave them, because we took the time to install brakes over the off season, and all of my youth golfers train in season. Every golfer on my roster trains in season. There are very few people that once golf season starts, I don't see them at all. There's definitely people that I see less because, traveling and things of that nature. But if somebody asks my opinion, is it okay to stop when the golf season starts? Absolutely not. That'd be your job is to, if nothing else, not get weaker, and you don't actively get stronger. But if you stay the same as you were in the off season, or if at least it's a slow decrease, you'll be happy. But if you come to me and say, hey, I didn't train all season, my swing speed and my distance progressively became less throughout the year, I'm not shocked. I wish you stayed, but I do not have that issue, because I take the time to make sure when people sign on to train, they know that this is not a 2-month thing.
Yep. They're in it for the long haul.
Yeah. Yep. Unfortunately, they want quick fixes. All of them will tell you they would love it to be over.
Yeah.
But I try to make sure they have fun. I make sure they have fun when we train. You gotta feel better when you leave than when you came in.
Yep, absolutely. So what is your perception on what a needs analysis for golf would be?
I mean, TPI is pretty damn good. Their assessment is quite useful. I find that the balance test and the posture test to be probably the most true examples of what can be addressed most quickly. So the need analysis there is very good. And then when you go down the line to kind of look at someone's power leaks, those are also very helpful to us. So, TPI does a really good job of giving guys like myself and other, guys and girls in the fitness industry good resources for reference. And then it's on the coach to take that information and use it how it's most applicable to their clientele. So every coach uses it differently. I use it more of a guide. Some people use it as a Bible. It depends on the person.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I was going to say, not only depends on the coach, but also the individual athlete too. I mean, you might need to do a lot more for some athletes and might not have to do a lot for one. So
some people want you to run down an entire, 2-hour or however long the assessment wants to be. Some people just want to make sure that they would enjoy spending an hour of time with you. So
Yeah.
you can get different stuff.
Absolutely. So what do you believe the goals of golf specific exercises are?
Should be or are right now.
Both, like are
So
and generally, and then yeah, should be.
so I think the priority should be play pain-free golf. We'll lead with that again. I'm just going to keep saying it. But I would say posture. Posture, if you can address someone's posture and make them stronger over the golf ball, if you do nothing else, you're going to provide them with the skills and tools to be a better athlete. So posture needs to be a premium in everybody's program. If it's not, it needs to be addressed immediately. And if your coach is not addressing those needs, you need to, seek other guidance on, hey, I know I need to be stronger over the golf ball. If you're stronger over the golf ball, it's going to be easier to make that swing on hole 18 than it is just whacking around, especially under crunch time. I don't want to be tired. I don't want to have bad form. And I sure as heck don't want to duff one on 18 or one. First tee jitters are real. So I think that posture needs to be addressed. I think that priority in the common thing that's talked about, especially in the long ball age that we're in now, is club head speed. I think that if you prioritize having strong posture over the ball, the club head speed will come rather than addressing the problem. They're not addressing the needs. If you just spent your whole off season doing club head speed work, you could increase it, but you could open yourself up to either injuries, or you could open yourself up to, you could be disheartened by realizing you hit it further, but you have less control because you can't hold on to the new speed you've created. So doing one without the other isn't, if it's on your coach's behalf, it's negligent. If it's on your behalf, it's just an error. Yeah, if it's on your coach's behalf, that's negligence. Don't do that.
Yeah, absolutely. So what is the role of golf specific exercises compared to general exercises?
Golf specific exercises should make up less than 20% of your programming.
Okay.
Generalized fitness will help your golf game more than you think. I'm going to give you a short answer for once. I think that one's going to be, that was good.
Okay, perfect. How should golf specific exercises be utilized? I mean, you kind of dove into kind of laying the foundation, building up that pyramid concept. Anything else to add regarding that?
Yeah, preseason play, golf specific drills. And in my mind, that's closer to your med ball throws or your speed sticks or your stack sticks or your rip sticks or whatever you're using to simulate overspeed training, where you're swinging at 150%. There's no way you could actually hit a golf ball like that. That comes in a time and place when you're ready to pinnacle. So, you've laid you've addressed the injury concerns that you may or may not have had. You've addressed the strength needs, you've addressed the power needs, and then it's time to work on speed or sport specific training. That is premium. I always tell people I will take all the credit for all the long drives, and I will take none of the credit for all of the missed putts.
That's on them.
It's on you.
So what are some examples of golf specific exercises that you use?
In my opinion, golf specific exercises are deadlifts, med ball rotational movements. I'm broad there on purpose because it depends on that client's needs. The offside speed stick training, as well as swing side training, specifically as you get closer to the golf season. Pull off presses, which is a belly press away from you. Anti-rotation drills such as farm walks or any bungee work, limiting the rotation of the thoracic spine. Those are golf specific exercises in my mind, and as well as lateral lunges, jumps. And then as we get towards the power, I will be testing your 90-degree broad jump. I will be testing your ability to do a kneeling med ball throw, finish in a push-up position. Those in my mind are golf specific exercises. Um, trying to take a stack of cables and swing it like it's a golf club is not a good idea, but it may, in the public's opinion, be considered a golf specific exercise.
Gotcha. Perfect. So last couple questions here as we kind of finish up. How have your beliefs evolved throughout your career about training for golf specific exercises? So, I mean, you can get, specific if you want, or if you want to be general with that, kind of whatever, up to you.
Yeah, I mean, learn as you go. So luckily for me, my first 4 golf clients, my first 4 ever, my first golf fitness group in 2013 or 14, I still train all of them.
Wow.
So they would be able to answer that question so much better, but it probably looked like a hockey hybrid program when I started, something of that nature, and with some med ball work mixed in there. And now we have a clear, concise program of what exactly I want to hit, what time frame you should be getting into your half kneeling med ball throws, how long you should be at a split stance position versus an overhead, So I would say we started at the bottom. I'm being mean to myself. We started at a moderate level of coaching for golf specific fitness, and now we're pretty high up there, and I'm going to continue to learn. So get back to me in a year and I'll give you a different answer.
Yeah, absolutely. What are some pros and cons that you see with golf specific exercises compared to general exercises?
Injury would be the con. If you reinforce a pattern that's already causing you pain, it's only going to get worse.
Gotcha.
The pro would be if you take, a broader approach, like I've been laying out, the deadlifts, increased posture, things of that nature. The pros are that it will, decrease pain and increase club head speed and give you what you're looking for. But if you had low back pain already and you decide to just do chops similar to that side, keep beating up the right side swing pattern, you'll get hurt and you'll get frustrated with the fact that you can't play golf longer because it's hurting you. One of my favorite clients used to carry pain pills in his bag, Tylenol or ibuprofen or whatever he needed, maybe finish 9 holes, and now constantly is playing 36. So
wow,
that's my favorite dude.
Yeah.
I like him even more than the kids who went to the USAM, but
that's awesome. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, taking a guy who couldn't play 9 holes to now is playing as much golf as you want is very, very rewarding. It is cool to see your kids on Golf Channel, though. That's cool.
Yeah. Well, you get to see that, especially for that gentleman. I mean, you get to see that journey, that entire journey going from only playing 9 holes to 36. I'm sure his his perception and just his feelings about it, I'm sure, has changed over time, just how much he's probably thankful of being involved with you. So
and some of the perks of being a golf fitness coach is you get to play at good golf courses and you get to play a lot of golf.
Yeah. Right.
If you're not coaching all the time. So
gotcha.
Block off my Friday. If anybody wants a session Friday at 2 on in the summer, the answer is no.
On the golf course.
That's my golf day.
Nice. So last question here. What percentage of exercises used in your training program are golf specific?
In my judgment, I would say, the public's opinion, close to like 15-20%. My opinion, what I think, I'm gonna just keep harping on it. My opinion, the posture restoration exercises and the things that'll set you up for the patterns, it's very hard to say one thing couldn't be helpful for the golf swing. So fairly high, let's call it 80% of the things that I'm going to give you are going to help you for your golf game. And the other 20% are just going to help you with whatever else it might be. Like for a high school boy, maybe he wants to do arms at the end of his session, I'm not going to stop him. You know what I mean? If one of my clients wants to address their tricep muscles a little bit extra at the end of their session, I'm not going to say no. We need to do extra T spines.
Yeah.
Have your fun and eat your cake too.
Yeah. Let the high school guy get their beach body for the summer a little bit.
Fill out that polo, my man. Fill it out.
Right. Muscle t-shirt.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, perfect. Yeah, that kind of concludes the interview there. That's all the questions I have. Do you have any questions for me at all? Kind of to finish up?
Yeah, I guess, I mean, where are you looking to, take your research study afterwards, or where are you looking to go with some of the things you're doing?
Yeah. So currently I this is for my thesis. So part of my graduate program requirements, this was an option that I had to do a thesis, and something that I feel very passionate about, being able to kind of get myself into a different side of the industry and different side of just general fitness industry. Research is, it's kind of different. So that was kind of a goal and purpose for me to do this project. And so, yeah, it's been going great. With it, it's come with the opportunity. So I've been at Interlochen Country Club, which is in Edina, Minnesota. I've been there for a few months now, and I've been doing research studies there as well. And so diving into more golf specific movements and getting into impact locations of how people view and feel a different shot. Are people able to predict different outcomes based on their shots? And so diving into a lot more of those research studies has been really great. And I think this study has allowed me to have those opportunities. So I guess for future career for me is, I'd love to stay in the fitness industry and stay with golf specifics, golf specific side to the sport. I think I could see myself staying in research side too. I think, research is definitely adds some value. And I think that, I don't want to say it's not appreciated in the industry, but I think it could be more widely used to a certain degree. And so that's kind of where I'm at currently, and, trying to get through my graduate program and kind of see what opportunities are out there for me. And then also too, you mentioned a little while ago, just with a lot of the speed sticks and everything like that. My boss at Interlochen, his name is Luc Benoit. He's the creator of the Ripstick. And so
he sent me one.
Oh yeah, nice.
Use it. I have a green one.
That's awesome. Yeah, nice.
I have a referral code and everything.
Perfect. Do you have a t-shirt yet? I think they sell t-shirts too, but so
I wear free t-shirts.
Right. No, but I've been kind of partnering with him a little bit, doing these studies, and then probably kind of hop on with Rip Golf for a little while and see if we can kind of progress the research side to things, specifically with overspeed training devices too. So
yeah, use it.
So yeah, no, it was great to hear you mention the Ripstick, and that's always great to hear that someone way across the country is using the product, and that's something I'll be able to tell him about. And
I got a bright green one.
Nice, very nice. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. So
perfect. All right. Well, thanks for reaching out. I'm glad I could. I think I said that I would want myself, if I was in your shoes, to answer this call. So I'm glad I did it. I do need to go run coach in 6 minutes, so I'm gonna have to get off.
Yeah, but, no problem.
If you're in Boston, reach out and then have a good one.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'd love to connect with you further. And last thing I'll mention too is if that IRB consent form, if you just want to sign that, sometime today or later this week, whenever you get a chance, just sign that and email it back to me. So
cool. Send me the recording and I'll take care of it.
Perfect. Sounds good. Well, thank you for your time, Kevin. I appreciate it.
No problem. Great to meet you, Phil.
Yep. Have a good one. Bye.